Hey everyone, it's Nissa, the Hypnobirthing midwife. How's it going? I hope you're well. I haven't put out a video for a few weeks because I've been beavering away with my book and just been locked in a cupboard writing and editing. But I was editing the kind of chapter or the section on vaginal examinations this afternoon, and I just wanted to get on and talk about it because actually for me it's quite an interesting thing. Maybe for you guys watching, it depends who you are. If you're a mum-to-be, a midwife or a birth practitioner, it's probably quite interesting. Or a doctor maybe. If not, you might find this this video a little bit off-putting maybe. So it's not something we talk about every day, unless you're a midwife, and then you do. So I wanted to hop on and maybe get a bit of a discussion going about vaginal examinations. So if you don't know what a vaginal examination is, it means a check normally done generally in labour or can be before in pregnancy to see if there's some change in your cervix, ladies, if it's opening, if it's going short, if it's come from the back to the front, which indicates, you know, what point of labour you might be at. But I've been writing the section in my book about the kind of like basically the pros and cons of having a vaginal examination, or many, during pregnancy and labour. So if you're watching this and you're a mum who's given birth, or you're a mum that's going to give birth, I'd love to hear your opinion. Did you have them? Was it good for you? Was it not? Do you want to have a vaginal examination? If you're a midwife, I'd also love to know, like, do you think we have to have them? Do you think they're not necessary? So please talk to me in the comments below. And yeah, let's see what everybody thinks. So what I've been writing about is the pros and cons, and the kind of thought that I have as a midwife, but then also as a hypnobirthing teacher, is that the vaginal examination does one thing. So the big pro of it is it tells you what the cervix is doing in the moment. In that moment, you generally find out what's going on, which can be useful. So that can be a positive, but it can also be a negative because it doesn't tell you what is going to happen next. So you might be 3 centimeters dilated. That does not mean that you are going to birth in 10 hours or 5 hours or even 1 hour. It doesn't predict that. We kind of like to think it does as midwives and doctors. We have a guideline. So the cervix is predicted to open at 2 centimeters an hour. Oh no, that would be very quick. That would be crazy quick. No. For a first time mum, the cervix is predicted to open 2 centimeters every 4 hours, so a rate of 0.5 centimeter an hour, or 1 centimeter every hour if you're a second time mum or more. So different trajectory. So we find out, we do the vaginal examination, we find out what's happening, we plot it on our chart, and then what happens, ladies? Well, in the UK, we routinely check every 4 hours, so we like to chart the cervix. Now, if everything is straightforward, maybe that's fine. It's okay. The cervix does what it's meant to do. But actually, our cervixes don't know about the charts, and they are devilish things and not massively predictable. So for any midwives watching this video, I'm sure you've seen many times mums who are either you know, super slow. They're 2 centimeters. They're 2 centimeters again. 4 hours later, they're 3 centimeters. You know, it's not on the line that we expect to see. And mum might be well, baby might be well. It might just be the normal thing for that body. And alternatively, sometimes we see, you know, 2 centimeters, and then the baby's born 2 hours later. especially for second time, third time, fourth, fifth, sixth time mothers. It's often like that. It's not predictable. So that's one of the pros and cons. It tells you what's happening right now, but it doesn't tell you what's going to happen. What else? So I think we've got to be realistic. So if there's a concern, mum is unwell or baby seems distressed, the heart rate's something happening with the heart rate, the vaginal examination is quite useful because it kind of tells you what is happening. You know, is there a problem that we need to take action on? That's absolutely valid. But what about in the case when mum is really well, feeling good, no problems, baby is well, it's not even a long labour, it's just a standard type birth. What's the value then? It tells the doctor and the midwife what's happening, and maybe mum wants to know what's happening as well. Maybe that's reassuring. That could be definitely a positive thing for mum. But I think also it can be quite a negative thing. So, I've got a question. Hey Jade, would you say it's more important with inductions? I will come back to that. It's a good question. Cheryl says, hey Nissa, I have performed a VE and second time mum was 4 centimetres after being 4 centimetres 4 hours early, and then baby was born 1 hour later. Yeah, I had a lady exactly like that, Cheryl, about 4 weeks ago. 3 centimetres, baby's born 2 hours later. So this is a great question, Cheryl. So what is the value? Who are we doing the vaginal examinations for? Are we doing it for mums, or are we doing it routinely for us? It's a really good question as midwives and doctors, so that we can put it on the chart and we feel like we're in control and we can manage our staffing and we can make sure that everyone has the break at the right time. It's something that's been on my mind, and so I've been writing about it in my book. Let's come back to the induction. Are vaginal examinations more valid for inductions? So you would have a vaginal examination if you're being induced to put the pessary or the propess in. So I guess that's a part of how it's done, like it's part of the process. We try not to do them regularly. So if a mum is in early labour and clearly not having regular surges, is there any point doing one if there's no problem? Probably not. I don't think so. That brings up a thought. I had a conversation with a very good friend of mine recently who's birthed in another country in Europe, but not in the UK, and she had a great birth, really positive birth, induction, but fantastic, you know. And I asked her, oh, how often did your doctor do the vaginal examination? Because she had a great doctor who she loved. And she said, it really shocked me. I had to keep a straight face. She said, oh, every hour in strong labour. And I was like, okay. And she said she was happy with that. She felt good, you know. I can't imagine having someone put their hand in my vagina every hour during labour. I'm going to be honest, for me, and I think this is probably quite a normal practice in some countries, but for me that's deeply shocking. And so this is a question to think about. Makes me feel a bit emotional actually. Whew. Could vaginal examinations in some cases actually be doing negative things? So if it's stressful for you and it's something you don't really want, or you've got to get out of the pool, then you've got to lie on your back potentially. Could that be disturbing your birth hormones? And I think the answer to that is in many cases yes, something to think about. And could it be disheartening if you get that result where you were 3 centimetres 4 hours ago and now you're 3 centimetres again? And so how does that impact you emotionally? Does that make you feel like, oh God, I'm only 3 centimetres? Sometimes, has to be delivered very delicately. Even with the most positive midwife, you might feel like, that can be a really big impact. That could potentially change the course of a person's labour, actually. If they find out that, there were 4 and they're only 4 again 4 hours later, they might think, damn it, I'm going to have that epidural, because I don't know how long this is going to be going on for, potentially. Even though that vaginal examination doesn't predict what's going to happen in our mind, I think it's very powerful. So, I had a comment, let me see if I can see it. From Cheryl, I think the value is that it's a tool to help build a clinical picture at the point in time and holds more value if there is high-risk medical concerns. I completely agree, Cheryl. If there is a concern for mum or baby, then it can be something that's very valuable. If it's a very straightforward, regular birth, there's no concerns, what value does it have? That's my question. What value does it have? Is it good for mum? Does it make mum feel good? Maybe, yes, she finds out she's 7 or 8 centimetres dilated. Everyone's a winner. Maybe not if she's told she's 2 or 3 centimetres dilated. Something to think about, ladies. If you're having a baby, do you want to have vaginal examinations? 1. Do you want them on the clock every 4 hours? Maybe not. Maybe you say, I'm going to have the first one, but actually I don't want any others after that unless I ask for it. It's assumed in hospital pretty much that it's going to be done. It's not that often that women decline vaginal examinations, which is it's probably a bit of a feminist issue, perhaps. It's assumed that something's going to be done to your body on the clock, and potentially how much clinical benefit is it done if it's just a routine practice. I think that is something that we could talk about in a lot of depth and could get a bit sticky and emotive. So I won't go right into that. But for mums watching, just question it. Think about, is it going to benefit you? Is it going to make you feel good? Is it going to help you on your birth journey? And the answer could be yes, but also the answer could be no. And don't just take it as a routine practice, because as well as having great benefit in a complicated clinical picture, it could also have a negative impact on you as well, potentially. So it's got the power to do both, I would say. I've got a few more comments. We know it's optional and share it with mums, but it's generally accepted. But is it generally accepted when mums decline, do you think? Or are they told it's part of the process? I don't think mums decline very often, actually. So it's not that common. From my experience in a very busy London hospital, really mixed demographic, is not very common. It's unusual, and it's always a bit like, to be honest, it's like, oh, she's declining. Okay, that's a bit different. So I think it's something that as medics, I think it needs to be debated a little bit more, and let's look at the value, the routine practice. Where is the value? I know in the busy London hospitals, it's like, well, are we keeping her in or not? Because we're really busy and we can't keep in mums who are in early labour because 1, there's no rooms, and 2, there's no midwives to look after them. So that's something to be aware of. When it's always being pushed as beneficial for mum, there's another agenda going on as well. Anything else to say? Thanks for the debate, ladies. I really enjoyed those questions. I think it's something that we should be thinking about a bit more in depth. Like you, Jade, I tell my clients that it's optional. They can decline to think about whether it will help their birth journey, definitely. And I think mums that home birth or they're birthing with doulas or independent midwives are more inclined to trust their body and actually decline the vaginal examination. And I think that can be a very positive choice. Myself, I didn't have any vaginal examinations. My birth was relatively short. It was very straightforward. Would I have wanted to get on my back and have someone put their hand into my vagina? Probably not, to be honest. I don't think that would have really made the experience more positive. I didn't need it. So yes, food for thought. So I'm going to stop there, guys. I could ramble on for ages, but I really enjoyed that. If you have any other thoughts, post them below and I'll respond. And yeah, great. Oh, one more thing. We're lucky to have a few local midwives in the unit who actively mention it's an option and just don't offer. That's awesome, Jade. We need more of that, and less just kind of roll it out. You know, this is what we do. Bit more questioning. I like it. All right, see you soon, guys. Bye.